Today we've got a classic story of scientific progress. It's the tale of a powerful, groundbreaking idea, and then the smarter, more refined version that came along to fix its problems. We are talking about two compounds, MK-677 and MK-777, and how one clever change really made a world of difference. So, you hear about these things, right? They promise some incredible benefits. We're talking more muscle, faster recovery, even better sleep. But let's be honest, when something sounds that good, there's almost always a catch. And today, we're going to dig in and find out exactly what that is. Okay, before we dive deep, let's get one key term straight so we're all on the same page. Both of these are what you call a growth hormone secretagog. It sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. All it means is that these compounds basically send a signal to your body telling it to release more of its own natural growth hormone. They're not adding anything foreign, just kind of nudging your body to do more of what it already does. All right, let's start at the beginning. We've got to meet the original, the first generation compound that really kicked this whole thing off. It's time to talk about MK-677. MK-677, also known as Ibutamoren, was an absolute game changer when it came out. It's a seriously powerful compound you can take orally. Yep, no injections needed, which is a big deal. Its main job? To give you a significant, long-lasting boost in both growth hormone, or GH, and IGF-1 levels. And wow, the results? They were seriously impressive. People reported a whole range of benefits. Of course, there was the muscle gain and way faster recovery you'd expect. But then there were these other things, like deeper, more restful sleep, and even a really noticeable kick in motivation and mental drive. It was, without a doubt, a very effective tool. But you knew there was a but coming, right? As we hinted before, all that power came with a price. The original had some pretty major drawbacks, and it's this catch that really paved the way for the next evolution. So the downsides to MK-677 are pretty significant. The most famous one, the one everybody talks about, is an intense, almost uncontrollable hunger. On top of that, a lot of users report holding a lot of water, feeling bloated. And from a health perspective, the more worrying things are the risks of elevated blood sugar and maybe even developing insulin resistance down the road. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It really captures the real-world issue here. I mean, think about it. If you're trying to stay lean or you're on any kind of diet with controlled calories, that overwhelming hunger can just completely wreck your progress. For a lot of people, this one side effect was an absolute deal breaker. So if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, let's meet the upgrade. It's time to bring in MK-777. Now, MK-777, or Acetamoren, isn't just a minor update. It was really designed from the ground up to be the next generation. The key is how it works. See, both compounds hit the body's ghrelin receptor, which is kind of like a master switch for both hunger and growth hormone release. MK-677 just flips the whole switch on, full blast. But MK-777 was engineered to be way more precise, to activate the growth hormone part of the switch without slamming the hunger button nearly as hard. Okay, so now that we've met both players, let's put them head to head. Let's really see exactly what makes this newer version such a big improvement. And right here, this is the showstopper. The difference is just dramatic. If you think of MK-677's crazy hunger effect as a baseline, let's call it 100. MK-777 comes in at just 32. That is a massive 68% reduction in appetite stimulation. This, right here, is probably the single most important upgrade. And the other big complaint, right? The bloating. With MK-677, holding water is a super common side effect. But MK-777 was designed for a much cleaner effect, with way less water retention. For anyone who cares about their appearance and just feeling comfortable day to day, that's a huge advantage. This table really pulls everything together. Let's just walk through it for a second. So, you see MK-777 is the newer, optimized version. We've already covered the huge drops in appetite and water retention, but look, it also has a lower risk of those metabolic issues, like high blood sugar. On top of that, it seems to have slightly better effects on bone health and a little higher, more stable bioavailability, which just means your body can absorb and use it a bit more efficiently. I mean, across the board, it's a pretty clear improvement. So, after all that, what's the bottom line? Let's break down the final takeaway here. It really comes down to choosing the right tool for the job.
MK-677 is still a beast. It's a powerful option for a pure bulking phase where you're trying to pack on as much mass as possible, and that crazy hunger might actually help. But for pretty much everyone else, especially people who are dieting or anyone who's focused on their metabolic health and wants a leaner look, MK-777 gives you those same core benefits with a much, much friendlier experience. So really, the bottom line is simple. MK-777 isn't some brand new, unrelated thing. It's a refinement. The scientists basically took the original, they found its biggest flaws, and they engineered a solution that delivers that same power, but with a better safety profile and, honestly, just a much better experience for the user.
And that kind of leaves us with one big question, doesn't it? MK-777 is clearly a smarter, more refined tool, but science never stops. This whole story, this progression from a powerful original to a polished successor makes you wonder, what's next? Is this the final word, or is it just the next step in the endless search for optimization? Thanks for tuning in.